ways such as sign language, use of pictures and symbols, for them to practice their right to express their own opinions and desires. 9. The right to be protected, defended, and assisted by the government. There are certain laws provided not just for children with Down syndrome, but for other impairments as well. Republic Act 7277, Magna Carta for Persons with Disabilities. Republic Act 9442, Benefits and Privileges of Persons with Disabilities. Republic Act 10070, Persons with Disabilities Affairs Office. The establishment of institutional mechanism to ensure the implementation of programs and services for persons with disabilities. Republic Act 10754, Expanding Benefits and Privileges of Persons with Disabilities, VAT Exemption. Batas Pambansa bilang 344, Accessibility Law. As a state party of the United Nations, the Republic of the Philippines should implement the rights of the child, including those with Down syndrome.
Good morning to everyone. Thank you for attending our webinar today. We all know how important it is for us to know why we should be prepared, how to be prepared, and who are we and our significance in the process of preparing. But before we start our webinar, let us all put ourselves in the holy presence of God.
O Lord my God, when I in awesome wonder consider all the worlds thy hands have made, I see the stars, I hear their rolling thunder, thy power throughout the universe displayed. Then sings my soul, my Savior God, to thee. How great thou art, how great thou art. Then sings my soul, my Savior God, to thee. How great thou art, how great thou art. And when I think of God, his Son that's bearing, sent him to die, I scarce can take it is. Dead on the cross, my burdens gladly bearing, he bled and died to take away my sins. Then sings my soul, my Savior God, to thee. How great thou art, how great thou art. Then sings my soul, my Savior God, to thee. How great shout of acclamation and take me home. What joy shall fill my heart? Then I shall bow with humble adoration and then proclaim, my God, how great thou art. Then sings my soul, my Savior God, to thee. How great thou art, how great thou art. Then sings my soul, my Savior God, to thee. How great thou art, how great thou art, how great thou art, how great thou art.
Happy Children's Month to all of the children out there. I will be your MC for today. I am Ate Jinji. First of all, I want everyone to help me welcome our dear Sir Ranil. He is currently the Social Marketing Unit's Manager of Norville Foundation. Mga bata, together, let's say hi, Sir Ranil!
Maraming salamat, no, Miss Jinji, no, and we are also very thankful, no, kay sa ating suki na sign language interpreter, si Teacher Aisel Dukay. So habang wala pa yung ating Executive Director, si Miss Maria Teresa Nuki, ako muna yung magsasalita, no. So pasalamat din tayo, no, kay Teacher Mark, yung ating suki din, no? Siyempre kasama dito si Miss Clarice from PFIB, si Miss Lucille, no? Si Miss Cathy, no? At ang iba pang mga team ng Norville, no? Na magpapacilitate, no? Ng ating webinar this afternoon, no? Bakit magkaroon tayo ng ganitong uring webinar? Preparing families of children with disabilities for emergencies. Di ba? Ang Pilipinas daw, isa sa mga bansa sa buong mundo na madalas nakakaranas ng iba't ibang mga hazards, mga emergencies. So bilang tugon, dapat magkaroon tayo ng kaalaman. Lalo na ang mga magulang ng mga batang may kapansanan, ang mga teachers, ang mga persons with disability leaders, para sila mismo ang magturo, sila ang aakap sa mga batang may kapansanan pag may mga emergency. Wini-welcome din natin sa hapong ito, no, ang lahat ng ating mga participants. At Teacher Mark, Teacher Aisel, buong Pilipinas tayo, mula Northern Luzon, no, hanggang sa Manila, hanggang sa Bicol, sa Cebu, sa Leyte, no, sa Ormoc, may sa Mindanao din tayo. Siyempre, no, ang ating mga suki parate, no, yung ating mga magulang na galing, no, sa mga local partner organization, no, ng Norville Foundation. At siyempre, ang ating mga kapartner na mga local government units, no, yung ating mga PIDAW, nandito, no, ang mga taga Taguig City. Nandito ang mga taga Municipality of Carmona. Nandito, syempre, ang mga taga Mandaluyong. Oo. Okay. Sige sagutin ko lang muna yung ating executive director na kasi tumatawag siya sa akin. Siguro nahirapan siya na mag-connect no sa ating webinar sa ngayon no kasi medyo challenging no yung ating internet connection. Sandali lang po. Yes, Mr. E. Yes po. Okay. Sige, Mr. E. Mamaya na lang kung okay lang sa iyo. Pag-break, okay lang ba sa iyo? Siguro mga 3 o'clock. Actually, ako ngayon nagsasalita. Ako ngayon yung yung background. Oo. Sige. Pag ready ka na.
Nakakatuwa naman yung mga ating mga participants. Meron pa nagpe-pray sa ating sign language interpreter. Thank you very much everyone for joining. Baka ready na si Sir Raniel. Balikan po natin siya.
Yeah, I'm ready na G, no? Yung ating executive director, no, si Miss Teresa Nuki, medyo nahirapan no sa kanyang koneksyon. Sumamaya daw, no, ay hahabol siya sa atin. Pero sigurado nasasamahan niya tayo. So, no, wini-welcome natin no ang lahat ng ating mga participants sa hapong ito. Okay? Sige, G. So maraming salamat no sa inyong
salamat rin po,
no,
Sir
sa
Rani.
ating webinar this afternoon. Sigurado ako no na marami tayong matutunan. Okay, G.
So, mga bata at saka syempre mga magulang natin at mga primary caregivers, gusto ko rin po ipakilala po sa inyo ang ating resource speaker for the day, si Mr. Mark Padil. Tawagin na lang po natin siyang Teacher Mark. Siya po ay graduate ng BS Physical Therapy from Our Lady of Fatima University. Siya rin po ay former special education teacher and pre-vocation, leisure, and recreation facilitator in Independent Living Learning Center. He also assists in emergency and disaster alleviation efforts in the promotion of public safety, disaster preparedness, and community services at the Regional Emergency Assistance Communications Team. He is also the founder and an educator in the Autism Response Philippines. Everyone, let's warmly welcome Teacher Mark.
Ayun. Thank you very much, Ma'am Jinji and Ma'am Aisel and Sir Ranil Sorongon. By the way, from the Philippine School for the Deaf, binigyan po nila ako ng sign name, and my sign name is Mark. Yun po aking sign name. Okay, thank you very much for the very warm introduction, Ma'am Jinji. Okay, so allow me to share my slide. Okay, so once again, good afternoon, participants. Welcome to the webinar on preparing families of children with disabilities for emergencies. Today is Saturday, November 6, 2021. We are live at Zoom and at Facebook. Once again, thank you, Norphil Foundation Incorporated. We have the theme New Normal na walang iwanan karapatan ng bawat bata ating tutukan in celebration of 2021 National Children's Month. Okay, just a brief intro about my advocacy. The Autism Response PH is the sole pioneer on autism safety in the Philippines and provides autism awareness training for emergency responders with information and guidelines for recognition, response, and communicating with person with autism spectrum disorder or ASD in emergency situations to both local government units, disaster risk reduction management, non-uniform personnel, and uniform personnel of the government, land, air, and sea. Your safety is our paramount concern. I also received an invitation to share talk to both government and local government units and various volunteer groups, public and private schools. And as Ms. Jinji said a while ago, here's my background also. And I'm proud to share to you, this is my first job, was becoming a behavior therapist at BMAC, Behavioral Management for Autistic Children. My first student was the son of the late Miss Shanti Kilduff, Joshua Kilduff. Then sometime in 2006, there, I worked with ILLC and the Child Fine Therapy Learning Center. I also handle the event as event safety management as an event safety officer during Angels Walk for Autism since 2016 until the pre-pandemic year 2020. And allow me to shout out to all my friends in emergency medical services, firefighters, and motomedics. Thank you for your support during this Angels Walk for Autism. On this slide, here I present to you my credential from Emergency Management Institute, FEMA, Federal Emergency Management Agency, with my independent study course on including people with disabilities and other with access and functional needs in disaster operations. Successfully completed the instructor-led course on You Are the Help Until Help Arrives. I hope you can see this part, the do's and don'ts using the inclusive language. Let's talk about the effective communication, communicating with the whole community. Okay, let us remember people first. People first language place the emphasis on the individual instead of the disability. So that's the purpose of people first language. And of course, I would like to put emphasis on the disaster survivor word versus the disaster victim. Okay, most of the time we see outreach program for Taal victim, outreach project for Ondoy victim. Okay, so let's avoid using the term victim. Instead, we can use outreach program for the Taal survivor, Ondoy survivor. Okay. The difference between the right word and the almost the right word is the difference between lightning and the lightning bug by Mark Twain. And of course, aside from FEMA, we also have this packet guide from Philippine Red Cross, the Disability Inclusion Packet Guide, which is which is the same. Use appropriate language. Okay, a person first language is very much the same. This one, I got this from a friend who attended the disaster risk reduction management training. I hope in your local disaster risk reduction management unit, they still have copies, or you may ask the nearest Red Cross chapter in your location. Now, emergency and disasters, most of the time, it goes together. Okay, so the difference between emergency and disaster, an emergency is a sudden, urgent, unexpected event requiring immediate action, usually requiring help. Sufficient resources are available to deal with it. In disaster, it is a calamitous event, especially one occurring suddenly, causing great loss of life, damage, or hardship. Sufficient resources are not available. So that's the difference between the emergency and disaster. Here, just a quote, we cannot stop natural disasters, but we can arm ourselves with knowledge so many lives wouldn't have to be lost if there was enough disaster preparedness, by Petra Nemkova. And on this photo, together with me is the young May De Leon, a parent and an advocate on preparing families living with children with disabilities on emergency and disaster preparedness. Okay, now let's move on to the preparing families of children with disabilities for emergencies. For people with disabilities and their families, it is important to consider individual circumstances and needs to effectively prepare for emergencies and disasters. Get informed, make a plan, and build a kit. Now let's talk about get informed. What disasters could affect your area? Okay, know what disasters could affect your area, which ones could call for an evacuation, and when to shelter in place. The country's location also makes it vulnerable to other natural disasters, including frequent earthquakes, volcanic eruptions, as well as tsunamis, sea level rise, storm surges, landslides, flooding, and drought. And according to World Disaster Report in 2012, the Philippines is third most disaster-prone country. Same rank in 2018, according to World Risk Index. Every year, the country experiences almost all forms of disasters, such as typhoons, earthquakes, and volcanic eruptions, with numerous complex emergencies due to armed conflict. In 2020, the Philippines ranked at 9th, from 3rd place down to 9th rank in the world as the most affected countries from extreme weather events, according to the World Risk Index. Then allow me to share this to you. The Republic Act number 10121, Philippines Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Act of 2010, provides a comprehensive, all-hazard, multi-sectoral, interagency, and community-based approach to disaster risk management through the formulation of National Disaster Risk Management Framework. So that's about the disaster. Now let's talk about the shelter in place. Shelter. Sheltering is appropriate when conditions require that you seek protection in your home, where you work, or other location when other emergencies arise. The length of time you are required to take shelter may be short, such as during a tornado warning or during a pandemic. In all cases, it is important that you stay informed and follow instructions of local authorities. During extended periods of sheltering, you will need to manage water and food supplies to make sure you and your family have what you need to get by. Mahirap mag-abang or mag-antay ng ayuda kapag hindi ka napaghanda. Okay? Stay at home. Remain indoors as much as possible and try only leave your home when necessary. Outdoor activities are fine if you practice social distancing. When outside, try not to touch anything. The coronavirus can remain on certain surfaces for multiple hours. Essential services, such as grocery, are still fine to do. Limit visitors if possible. Now let's talk about the mass care shelter or the evacuation site. Mass care shelters provide life-sustaining services to disaster survivors. Even though mass care shelters often provide water, food, medicine, and basic sanitary facilities, you should plan to take your emergency supply kit with you so you will have the supplies you need. Mass care sheltering can involve living with many people in confined space, which can be difficult and unpleasant. When in the evacuation site, as much as you can, avoid the three C's: crowded places, close contact, and confined space. Check with local officials about what shelter spaces are available. Coronavirus may have altered your community's plans. Be prepared to take cleaning items with you, like soap, hand sanitizer, disinfecting wipes, or general household cleaning supplies to disinfect surfaces. And maintain 6 feet, at least 6 feet of space between you and people who aren't in your immediate family. Now let's talk about sheltering in place. Whether you are at home, work, or anywhere else, you regularly, there may be situations when it is best to stay where you are and avoid any uncertainty outside. Here are some indicators and steps to take if the situation arises. Use common sense and available information to assess the situation and determine if there is immediate danger. If you see large amounts of debris in the air, or if local authorities say the air is badly contaminated, you may want to take this kind of action. Sealing a room. Sealing a room is considered a temporary protective measure to create a barrier between you and potentially contaminated air outside. This type of sheltering in place requires pre-planning by purchasing plastic sheeting and duct tape that you will keep in your emergency supply kit. Now, let's talk about the radio. Keep a radio tuned to your local emergency station and monitor TV. Follow mobile alerts from NDRRMC and warnings about severe weather in your area. Download an app such as Storm Radar, AccuWeather, Hazard Hunter, and Philippine Red Cross hazard apps, and get weather alerts from the local weather services such as Pag-asa and or to your local disaster risk reduction management unit. Now let's talk about make a plan. Make a plan in the event of disaster. Could make it on your own for several days. After disaster, you may not have access to medical facility or even a drugstore. It is crucial to plan for your daily needs and know what you will do if they become limited or unavailable. Additional planning steps include create your support network. Network of people who can help you in disaster. Keep a contact list in a watertight container in your emergency kit or in your electronic devices. Inform your support network where you keep your emergency supplies. You may want to consider giving a trusted member a key to your house or apartment. Next, plan ahead for accessible transportation that you may need for evacuation or getting around during or after disaster. Check with local transit providers as well as with your emergency management agency to identify appropriate accessible option. Many emergency management agencies maintain voluntary registries of people with disabilities to self-identify in order to receive targeted assistance during emergencies and disasters. Contact your local emergency management office to find out more. If you are in a dialysis or other life-sustaining medical treatment, know the local and availability of more than one facility that can help you. This time you need a redundancy of possible resources. Do not stick to one. Next, if you use medical equipment in your home that requires electricity, talk to your doctor or healthcare provider about what you may be able to do to keep it running during a power outage or power shortage. You may consider purchasing a generator or genset, just enough to supply power to your home medical equipment. Next, wear medical alert tags or bracelets. Also, add pertinent medical information to your electronic devices. Consider also having a vial of life. Vial of life is a summary of medical history, which is kept by or inside the refrigerator. If you have communication disability, consider carrying printed cards or storing information on your devices to inform first responders and others how to communicate with you. If you use assistive device technologies, plan how you will evacuate with the devices or how you will replace equipment if lost or destroyed. Locate and access your electronic health records from a variety of sources by using an online tool such as email, Facebook, but make sure the post is not public. Only you could see that. Next, plan for children and adults who may have difficulty in unfamiliar or chaotic environments. Consider your service or support animals or pets and plan for food, water, and supplies. If you need to evacuate, you'll need to know whether your shelter allows pets or not, since some shelters only allow service or support animals. And keep a list of nearest medical facilities, local hospitals, and nearest transportation. As you can see on this picture, medical identification devices, that's the vial of life. Okay, any container that can be sealed, put all your summary details, medical summary details, seal it in a container and keep it inside the refrigerator. Okay, this one, I have read this from the Emergency Medical Responder book, Brady 9th edition. Okay, I hope everyone will practice this, and I will tell my fellow responders that double check that they might find a vial of life inside a refrigerator if they respond to your call or to your emergencies. And as you can see, there's also the emergency medical decal or emergency medical alert on board. Okay, this one was given away during Angels Walk for Autism in 2016 and 2017. And next photo, that's the lanyard with a multiple identification. Could be hard of hearing, person with intellectual disability. Okay, the importance there, it tells you that this person is children with disability. And I would like to share the documents about the wandering away from home. It's like a biodata of the child that you can self-initiate, go to your nearest barangay health center, police station, or barangay hall and tell that, oh, my son may have the chance to wander away from home. This is his details. This is how he looks like. This is how he or she is tall. Okay, then with that case, it will be easier for what we call the family reunification. And on the other note there, it's a special note that it's like a slam book of the child, the likes and dislikes. How are you going to communicate with the child? What are the techniques? Okay. And this is the elopement alert form, which I made. And it is, you can download it from my page at Autism Response PH. Even though if the child is not a person with autism, even if the child is a child with Down syndrome, you can still use this. Okay, you can still use this. What we are trying to do is we are preventing a reported missing person, something like that. Okay, now let's move on to build a kit. An emergency kit should have items to meet your individual needs in various emergencies. Consider the items you use every day and which ones you may need to add to your kit. Being prepared means having your own food, water, and other supplies to last for days or for several days. A disaster supply kit is a collection of basic items your household may need in the event of an emergency. The basic disaster supply kit: to assemble your kit, store items in airtight plastic bag and put your entire disaster supplies kit in one or two easy-to-carry containers, such as plastic bins, duffel bag, or go bag. And when we are talking about the several days, we're talking about 72 hours or 3 days without food, or you're away from your home. Okay, you need to survive in 3 days. Okay, a basic emergency supply kit could include the following recommended items: water, 1 gallon per person per day for several days, and that's for drinking and sanitation. Food, at least 3-day supply of non-perishable food. Battery-powered or hand-crank radio. Flashlight to signal SOS or help. First aid kit, extra batteries, whistle, also to signal for help or to use as a communication aid, especially if the person as a lip reader. Dust mask or a face mask. Plastic sheeting and duct tape to shelter in place. Moist towelettes or toiletries. Wrench or pliers to turn off utilities. Manual can opener, local maps, cell phone with chargers, and backup battery or power bank. Okay, now I would like to share to you the flashlight use and whistle in case of emergency. 3 dots, 3 dash, 3 dots, or short, 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 long, 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 short, short, short. Okay. I'm going to use a whistle. Okay, please bear with me. It might be loud. So that's how you are going to teach your child. If he needs help and he has a whistle, he can signal for help. SOS, 3 short, 3 long, and 3 short. Additional emergency supplies. Consider adding the following items to your emergency supply kit based on your individual needs: mask, prescription and non-prescription medications, prescription eyeglasses and contact lens, infant formula, bottles, diapers, pet food and extra water for your pet, cash or traveler's check. Make sure if you have cash, it is in a small denomination. Important family documents such as copies of insurance policies, or you can save it in your flash drive, make it easy to carry. Sleeping bag or warm blanket for each one, for each person. Complete change of clothing appropriate for your climate and sturdy shoes. Fire extinguisher, learn how to use fire extinguisher. Matches in a waterproof container. Feminine supplies and personal hygienes. Mess kits, paper cups or anything that you can use for eating and drinking. Paper and pencil for taking down notes or for communication. Books, games, puzzles, or other activities for children. And here, I would like you to take note of this. Allow me to share this QR code, a video link that will discuss about the Autism Responders Kit or Calm Down Kit, or basically a toy box. Okay, what to put inside your kit. Okay, you can screenshot it and watch it for later. Okay, thank you very much. Now let's talk about the maintaining your kit. After assembling your kit, remember to maintain it so it is ready when needed. Keep canned food in a cool, dry place. Store boxed. Store boxed food in a tightly closed plastic or metal containers. Replace expired items as needed. Rethink your needs every year and update your kits as your family needs change. Kit storage location, since you do not know where you will be in an emergency occurs. Prepare supplies for home, work, and cars. Home, keep this kit in a designated place and have it ready in case you have to leave your home quickly. So you have your go bag. Make sure all family members know where the kit is kept. Next, work. On your workplace, be prepared to shelter at work for at least 24 hours. Your work kit should include food, water, and other necessities like medicines, as well as comfortable walking shoes stored in a grab and go case. Next, car. If you have car, but if you don't, maybe your go-to person, your neighbor, your friend, your best friend. Okay. In case you're stranded, keep a kit of emergency supplies in your car or to your go-to person. Okay. Next. Okay, before that, let me share to you this quote. Every person who prepares is one less person who panics in a crisis. Person with disability. Disability intersects every demographic group. There are people with disabilities of all ages, races, genders, or national origin, and disabilities can impact a person in a variety of ways, both visible and invisible. So not all disabilities are visible. Now let's go to per individual's needs. Okay, tips for people who are deaf or hard of hearing. AM radio and cell phone. So you listen to your AM radio and monitor NDRRMC updates through text. So with regards to radio, of course, there's someone with you will tell you what's the news about. Okay. Extra hearing aids and battery. Pen and paper in case you have to communicate with someone who does not know sign language. Battery or crank type operated flashlight to enable communication by sign language or lip reading, especially when electricity is out and it's dark. Next, tips for people who are blind or have low vision. Mark emergency supplies with braille labels or large print. Keep a list of emergency supplies where you bought them on a portable flash drive or make an audio file that is kept in a safe place where you can access it. Next, keep communication devices for your particular needs, such as braille or deaf-blind communication device as part of your emergency supply kit. Okay, so I'm not sure if I'm being seen on the monitor. Okay, I will show you this lock. Okay, so I covered the number 1 and 5. This will like replicate the purpose or the function of this brand Taptilo. Okay. Okay, so you can press, I hope I'm correct. And this this one is S. And this is O. Okay, I hope you can see it. And this one is S. Okay, SOS, I need help. Okay, so maybe you need around 10 pieces of this. Okay, so just be creative and resourceful in communicating. Okay, now moving on. All right, thank you for the monitor app. Okay, Okay, tips for people with speech disability. If you use an augmentative communication device or other assistive technologies, plan how you will evacuate with the devices or how you will replace equipment if it is lost or destroyed. Keep model information and note where the equipment came from. Plan how you will communicate with others. If your equipment is not working, included laminated cards with phrases and or pictograms or PECs or picture exchange communication system. Okay. Excuse. Next, individuals with intellectual or developmental disabilities. Keep a handheld electronic devices charged and loaded with videos and activities. Purchase spare chargers for electronic devices and keep them charged. Include sheets and twine or a small pop-up tent to decrease visual stimulation in a busy room or to provide instant privacy. Consider a pair of noise-canceling headphones to decrease auditory stimuli. Have comfort snacks available. Make sure this is the child's favorite. Just like me, this is my favorite, combos, pizza flavor. Tips for people with mobility disability. If you use power wheelchair, have a lightweight manual wheelchair available as backup if possible. Show others how to assemble, disassemble, and operate your wheelchair properly. Purchase an extra battery for power wheelchair or other battery-operated medical or assistive technology devices. If you cannot purchase an extra battery, find out what agencies, organization, or local charitable groups can help you buy one. Keep extra batteries charged at all times. Consider keeping a patch kit or a repair kit or sealant for your tires, for flat tires. Keep an extra mobility device such as cane or walker if you use one. Keep a portable air pump for wheelchair tires. And if you use seat cushion to protect your skin or maintain your balance, you must evacuate. Consider keeping an extra cushion on hand. Communicate with neighbors who can assist you if you need to evacuate the building. So remember, during the evacuation, they say, do not use elevator, use stairs. But what if you are the person who uses wheelchair? How are you going to go down? Okay, as you can see here, this is what I suggested before during my talk at Northfield. Pre-pandemic, we have the face-to-face. This orange one is what we call the stair chair. Okay, you can use this for evacuating or transferring a patient from a high-rise building without use of elevator. Okay, it is this one or this type is much safer than the regular wheelchair. Okay, we are not so sure that when you carry it, the armrest is stable enough to carry the weight of the patient. Okay. Now, tips for individuals with Alzheimer's and related dementia. Do not leave the person alone. Even those who aren't prone to wandering away may do so in unfamiliar environments or situations. If evacuating, help manage the change in environment by bringing a pillow and a blanket or other comforting items they can hold on to. When at a shelter, try to stay away from exits and choose a quiet corner. So avoid the foot traffic, the in and out of people in the evacuation center. If there is an episode of agitation, respond to the emotion being expressed. For example, say, you're frightened and you want to go home. It's okay. I'm right here with you. Okay. Assurance or a word of comfort. Next, additional items. I will just repeat it again. Make sure your supplies will last for several days, especially for prescription medicines, a list of medications, dosage, and any allergies or anti-allergy medications, eyeglasses, contacts, hearing aids, and batteries, a backup supply of oxygen, a list of the style and serial number of medical devices, include special instructions for operating your equipment if needed, especially if you are, let's say, using a nebulizer, oxygen concentrator. Okay. Next, copies of insurance and medic cards. Okay. If you cannot have it in a hard copy, maybe you can scan it and save it in your flash drive or electronically in your email. Next, contact information for doctors, relatives, or friends who should be notified if you are hurt, or ICE. ICE means in case of emergency, who's you gonna call. Next, pet food, extra water, collar with ID tag, medical records, and other supplies for your service or support animal. Okay, I would like to share this YouTube link or my YouTube channel, the Autism Response PH. Okay, so please visit and like or subscribe. Please take note of the YouTube link. Okay. Now let's move on to. So we're basically done in disaster preparedness. Now we're going to the emergency or life-saving aspect. Okay, life-saving skills. This toolkit promotes awareness about common household hazards and encourages individuals, families, and communities to prepare for and protect against disaster and severe weather events by learning essential life-saving skills. What should you know about life-saving skills? Know basic preparedness skills to protect your family and home. Eliminate common electrical and fire hazards around your house and property. Install smoke alarms and test them monthly. Teach children what to do when they hear smoke alarms. Place smoke detectors on every level of your home and test them monthly. Know how to turn off utilities like LPGs in your home. Talk to your landlord or building manager about evacuation routes and fire safety. Develop and practice a family communication plan and discuss it with your family. Have emergency supplies in place at home, at work, and in the car, or to your go-to person. Pay attention to alerts and warnings. Know two ways out of your home in the event of fire and practice evacuation plans. And of course, set some money aside from income in case of an emergency. Even though right now we are going cashless payments, what if during the disaster the internet or the system is down? We will go back to the usual paper bills and coins. And allow me to share to you my credential as a basic life support instructor and provider under the Philippine Heart Association. And of course, I am the advocate of the Republic Act number 7277 and Republic Act number 10871. Okay, so opportunity to participate and of course the age appropriate basic life support for children with disabilities. So everyone is included. Okay, they have the right to be trained and learn about basic life support. And here I would like to share to you the activity I've done during the mass CPR at the Philippine School for the Deaf. Okay, these people, Teacher Mariel taught me the sign language, and it's really quite difficult at first. No, you need to exercise your fingers. Okay, so allow me to share to you without further ado this presentation from the Philippine School for the Deaf, our basic life support training. Here's my sign name. Okay, this time I will translate this to you. Thank you, Philippine Heart Association Incorporated, for Save a Life, Learn CPR, Team CPR Ready Filipino Family. Thank you. Shout out to Teacher Yang and Teacher Mariel of Philippine for the Deaf. They taught me the basic sign language for this event. And of course, the Girl Scout of the Philippines, Pasay Council, shout out. Okay, now this what do you call this? This webinar is not the only training, so we still need more training on basic life support. Okay, so this one is just a preview on what we are going to do about the 5 C's for lay CPR amidst COVID-19. Okay, so what are we going to do? Are we going to do mouth to mouth? What if the victim or the patient has COVID-19? So we are not sure. Okay, so first about the 5 C's. The first C is check. The next is call, cover, compress, and connect. Okay. First C, call. Quickly call for help. So what are you going to call? Call 911 or call the nearest emergency medical services or the hospital that you know in your area. Next. Second C. Sorry. First C is check. First C is check. Assess victim from a safe distance. So you check if the victim is breathing or moving. Okay. Then if not, what are you going to do? The next C is call. Call quickly for help. Call someone or call 911. Okay. Or call the nearest hospital. The third C is protect both rescuer and the victim. So you should wear face mask, and you also need to put a face mask on the victim. Okay. On the fourth C, compress. Do hands-only CPR, no mouth-to-mouth. Okay. Do chest compression on the center of chest, about 100 to 120 chest compressions per minute, in the tune of staying alive. Okay, staying alive, staying alive. Staying alive. Compress, compress, compress. Okay, next, if AED available or automated external defibrillator, you connect. Okay, so this will help or give a good chance of survival for the patient or for the individual who experience a sudden cardiac arrest. Okay, now let's watch this video on how are we going to do hands-only CPR during the pandemic.
On the Medical Watch, saving a life in the time of a pandemic. Our behaviors have changed. Social distancing and masking are now part of our daily routine. But doctors want to remind us there's something else we can do to help those around us. CPR. The technique can be done safely, even as COVID-19 continues to circulate.
So the most critical thing is that you use both your hands and the heel of your palm here in the mid-center of the chest.
It's still the same drill. Steady compressions, 2 inches in depth, about 100 per minute.
There is a potential risk that you may break a rib, but that's totally okay.
Dr. Pavitra Katini Shah showed us how it's done, right on the sidewalk outside University of Illinois at Chicago Medical Center, where she's an emergency room physician and has witnessed firsthand the benefits of bystander CPR.
It gives me the chills right now just thinking about it because it makes such a difference.
It's a scenario that could play out at any moment, at home or out in the community. A person collapses due to cardiac arrest. The heart has stopped pumping blood to the brain and other organs.
It can happen at Starbucks. It can happen anywhere in the city. It should be almost instantaneous. Someone is not responding. They're not waking up. If you start to do compressions, they wake up, great. No harm done. Maybe they're going to be a little sore. Nothing else. But there's no barrier that should prevent you from doing it.
But would you jump in to help a stranger? It's a question bystanders may ponder during the pandemic.
If you are a bystander and a stranger falls down and is unconscious and potentially has had a cardiac arrest, if you can place a mask on yourself and place a mask on the patient and then perform compressions, then you are at a much lower risk of potential transmission to yourself. No studies have really shown that there's a confirmed risk of aerosolization of the virus. So the jury's still out on what that actual risk is.
But the risk to the fallen patient is known.
For every minute that a CPR is not performed or hands-only compression is not performed, there's a 10% less chance of survival. So within 10 minutes, you have a 100% chance of pretty much dying. Around 4 to 6 minutes is when you start to have brain death.
When it comes to kids, the recommendations are a bit different. Compressions and breaths.
Most children have a cardiac arrest because of a respiratory problem, so it's very critical that you do compressions and breaths for children. And kept back on the chest and continue to do 30 compressions to 2 breaths for at least 5 cycles.
As part of the Illinois Heart Rescue Team, Dr. Katini Shah wants everyone to take a few minutes to refresh their skills during what is CPR and AED Awareness Week. It just takes a little practice. Think of the beat to the song Staying Alive as a guide.
The only feature that you need to know in order to administer CPR is that they're not responding. If they are not waking up, you are going to do no harm in actually administering CPR.
And here's why it's so important in this time. Doctors are now seeing an uptick in out-of-hospital cardiac arrests, likely due to the fact that people are afraid to go to the hospital during the COVID-19 crisis. There are online resources that can walk you through a quick refresher CPR course or teach you the basics.
Okay, so for those who want to have a copy of this 5 C's for lay CPR amidst COVID-19, you can save this QR code. Okay, and this will lead you to my Facebook fan page, and you can download the photo and print it and share to your family and friends, just in case that you need the CPR, they know what to do. Next one, the stop the bleed. Okay, the top cause of preventable death in trauma is bleeding. 20% of people who have died from traumatic injuries could have injured with quick bleeding control. The number 1 cause of preventable death after injury is bleeding. Okay, so at least at home, we know what to do during this emergency, or if the child with disability happened to caught in an accident and he suffered a traumatic severe bleeding, this is our basic step on how to stop the bleed. Okay, for if you want to learn about Stop the Bleed, we will have another schedule with that. Maybe you can ask Sir Ranil Sorongon or the Norfield Foundation. We will have another set of training exclusive on Stop the Bleed and the CPR or basic life support. Okay, allow me to play to you the video on how to manage Stop the Bleeding. Imagine this part is the wound part. Okay, so that's the wound part. Then we're going to cover the or try to stop the bleeding. Okay, so there you go. Compressing the wound with a cloth. Okay, so that's one of the steps, and there's another steps with use of tourniquet or wound packing. Okay, sooner we'll have that be discussed. Okay, or on the other schedule. So that's the basic. Okay, now let's talk about seizure. Okay, seizure. Okay, this one in a joint effort with the CERG or Composite Emergency Response Group, we conduct a community-based training on basic life support, first aid, and water safety and rescue. This one, I know you heard the news about Karen Davila about her son who had a seizure. Okay, so this is the thing that we are going to do, how to manage seizure. Okay, so number one, nothing by mouth. Okay, and support the individual and make sure the individual is breathing, no objects around him that might fall and injured him. And of course, you may also need to time the seizure, how long. If someone took a video, yes, maybe, but make sure it will not be uploaded on any social media. It can be shared to your family doctor. Doc, this what happened. Okay, then you share it. Okay, but don't share it on social media. Okay, respect the patient's privacy. Okay, so allow me to play a video about seizures in adults. Same with the child. This one is from the St. John Ambulance.
A seizure, also known as convulsion or fit, can be caused by a disruption to the electrical activity in the brain, which may lead to uncontrollable contractions in muscles and unresponsiveness. If a seizure occurs, the most common cause is epilepsy, but it can be caused by other things, such as alcohol poisoning, a lack of oxygen, after a head injury, after taking certain drugs, or if someone with diabetes is having a hypo, where the blood glucose is too low. When someone is having a seizure, you may find they have sudden loss of responsiveness, rigid body with arching back, noisy and difficult breathing, convulsive, jerky, uncontrolled movements, saliva at the mouth which could be blood-stained if they've bitten their tongue or cheek, possible loss of bladder or bowel control. Afterwards, they may be confused, tired, and fall into a deep sleep. If you suspect someone is having a seizure, it's important to protect them from harming themselves during the fit. Clear away any potential dangerous objects like hot drinks or sharp objects. Don't restrain or move them. Make a note of the time when the seizure started and how long it lasts. Protect their head by placing something soft underneath or around it, like a towel, and loosen any clothing around their neck. Once the seizure has stopped, open their airway and check their breathing. If they're breathing, put them into the recovery position. If they stop breathing at any point, prepare to treat someone who is unresponsive and not breathing, monitoring their level of response. Call 999 or 112 for emergency help if It's the person's first seizure, the cause is unknown, they're having repeated seizures, the seizure lasts more than 5 minutes, they are unresponsive for more than 10 minutes, or they've sustained an injury. So remember, protect, but don't restrain them. Call 999 or 112. And that's how you help someone who's having a seizure. If this video has been helpful to you, help support St John Ambulance by going to sja.org.uk/donate.
Okay, once again, seizure, remember nothing by mouth. Do not put towel or spoon. Okay. Hope everyone would remember that. Okay, next. All right. Here are some activities done at Northfield. Before this pandemic, Northfield Foundation Incorporated is consistent in delivering seminar and trainings among its participants as they give importance on safety first aspect in preparing families for emergencies or disaster. Your safety is our paramount concern. Okay, the first one happened in June 1, 2019, followed by sometime in February 2020. Okay, this is a pre-pandemic. And thank you, Norphil. And next, here are some of the community-based trainings the Autism Response PH have done. Inclusive safety training and community-based trainings. Okay. And we're almost done. Please visit, like, and share Autism Response PH Facebook fan page. And this is my advocacy also. Don't leave safety to chance. Bring our autism safety program to your department. Okay, from the Autism Response PH, ARPH Educational Consulting. And of course, a great reason why a gloomy history may repeat itself is that we may have neglected what history did. When we neglect what history did, history visits us in the same cloth by Ernest Aguimang Yeboah. There's no harm in hoping for the best as long as you are prepared for the worst by Stephen King. Thank you very much. Sir Ranil Sorongon, Northfield Foundation. Thank you very much for your inviting me here on this on our event on the families of children with disabilities for emergencies. And now we are open for a question and answer portion. Thank you very much.
Miss Gingy, can we have a break first? And then Miss Nuki will give her message and then we will proceed to the question and answer. If they have any question, no, to Teacher Mark G.
Okay po, Sir Ranil. So, everybody, you heard it from Sir Ranil. We're going to have a 5-minute health break. But before we begin our health break, we will just give you a quick announcement. We want you all to know that Teacher Mark won't be sharing his presentation, but he did share a QR code a while ago. You can visit his Facebook page and also his YouTube channel. You can also watch a replay of today's webinar on Norphil's Facebook page. So everyone will give you until 2:50 to come back. Please drink your water, prepare your questions, use the question and answer button here in Zoom. And for our Facebook participants, you can simply comment in our comment box and our facilitator, Miss Lu, will pass on your question to Teacher Mark. Thank you.
special needs? Really? It would be special if people with Down syndrome needed to eat dinosaur eggs. That would be special.
One dinosaur egg. Enjoy.
Man, I think you were totally right about Lindsay.
If we needed to wear a giant suit of armor, that would be special.
I got a condo in Manhattan. Baby girl, what's happening? So gonna get to clapping. Go pop a phone.
It would be special if we needed to be massaged by a cat. If we needed to be woken up by a celebrity.
Wakey, wakey, eggs and bakey. Where are you? You may know me from Scrubs or Office Space. Your darker flicks, The Rock, Platoon, Wall Street. Funny story, I played Ben.
Get out.
My bad.
That would be special. But what we really need is education, jobs, and opportunities, friends, and some love, just like everybody else. Are these needs special?
Norville Foundation is a national, non-stock, non-profit, non-governmental organization registered with the Securities and Exchange Commission and licensed and accredited by the Department of Social Welfare and Development since 1984. Our mission is to ensure that children enjoy their rights through family-focused and community-based programs. We strive to be a lead organization in upholding the rights of children who are neglected, abandoned, and with disabilities. Through the years, we have been able to serve over 41,000 children and youth with disabilities through our Enable Communities for Inclusion and Partnership for Inclusive Development programs. Thousands of children found caring and loving families either through adoption or foster care through our child care and placement program. Thousands of social workers and social development workers were trained through our Norville Training and Research Center. Our programs use multi-level and comprehensive approaches and interventions. Under Child Care and Placement Program, or CCNP, is our foster care program that provides for a planned period of substitute family care by licensed foster families to orphaned, abandoned, neglected, and abused children. Here, kids get to experience the love, care, and protection they need. Also under CCNP is our domestic adoption that endeavors to find permanent and loving families for children through legal adoption. While our largest program, the Enabling Communities for Inclusion, works towards inclusive and resilient communities for the inclusion of children and youth with disabilities and their families in health, social, education, and other mainstream activities of society in partnership with local government units, national agencies, and civil society organizations. Our ECFI program is currently implemented in the provinces of Cebu, Ilocos Sur, and Northern Samar. Our Partnership for Inclusive Development program provides financial and technical support to local nonprofit and people's organizations involved in the causes of children and youth with disabilities. Notably, we have our Down Syndrome project, which focuses on helping the families of children with Down syndrome to better understand the potential and capacities of their children. We also have our training center for social welfare and development called the Northfield Training and Research Center. NTRC is continuously honing and enhancing the knowledge and skills of social workers and other social development practitioners in the areas of alternative family care and community-based inclusive development for children and youth with disabilities. All these were made possible by our partners and donors: Liliani Funds, Paul Foundation, CBM, Australian Aid, Adoption Centrum, Consuelo Foundation, and International Justice Mission. To know more about Northfield, feel free to visit our website or our Facebook page.
So I hope everybody already has their water, their questions prepared. Sana nakapag-stretching na rin po tayo. But before we begin our question and answer, I would like everyone to please join me in welcoming Northfield Foundation's Executive Director, Miss Teresa Nuki.
Thank you, Gingy. Sorry, I was not able to give my message earlier. I had difficulties, challenges with my internet. So, mga magulang, I know marami tayong kasamang mga magulang ngayon, tama ba? Mga guro, mga health workers, at mga CBR workers. Maganda. And of course, to our very able speaker today, Sir Mark, good afternoon sa ating lahat. This month, we are celebrating ang National Children's Month with the theme, New Normal na walang iwanan, karapatan ng bawat bata, ating tutukan. Kami sa Northfield, we continue to strive so that no one would be left behind, especially children and youth with disabilities. And this is part of it. Itong webinar na to ay bahagi ng aming pagsisikap na walang maiwanan, lalong-lalo na ang mga bata at kabataang may kapansanan. Narinig natin ang ating speaker, diba? Tungkol sa hindi lang sa paghahanda, kundi ang dapat gawin pag may mga emergencies. Ngayong panahon na to, well, all of us are experiencing some types of emergencies. Ngayon, kahit na hindi summer, although it feels like summer now, may sunog, maya-maya bigla ka na lang may maririnig na mga bumbero, may sunog. O biglang flash flood, diba? Biglang baha. May iba pang mga emergency na hindi natin talaga inaasahan, lindol, diba? Earthquake. And of course, sakit, epidemic o pandemya katulad ng ating nararanasan sa kasalukuyan. So this made us realize, and of course, as a result ng survey na ginawa tungkol sa sitwasyon ng batang may kapansanan na ginawa ng Subcommittee on Children with Disabilities under the Council for the Welfare of Children, wherein Norfield is the chairperson, lumabas na itsa ito sa pangangailangan ng mga pamilya. Paano silang maghahanda? Paano nilang ihahanda at ano ang gagawin habang may emergency at pagkatapos ng emergency? Diba? Anong paghahanda sa kanilang anak o miyembrong may kapansanan ang kanilang dapat gawin? Narinig natin, marami nang naibahagi sa atin ang ating resource person. Sana nakikinig tayong mabuti at nagkukuha tayo ng mga notes. No? I don't expect you to remember lahat ng sinasabi niya, pero maganda, may mga binigay siyang link. Diba? Kung saan pwede nating makuha yung mga ipinalabas niya kanina. At pwede nating ulit-ulitin panoorin sa ating tahanan hanggang malaman natin talaga at mapagsanayan o practice sa bahay. Katulad na lang nung sinasabi niyang paggamit ng whistle. Di ba? Kailangan nating i-practice. Siyempre, hindi naman automatic binigyan mo ng whistle yung anak mo. Baka alam niyang i-blow yung whistle. Pero yung sinasabing paano mo whistle ang gagawin para malaman na nangangailangan siya ng tulong. No? Kailangan nating sanayin ang ating mga anak o kaanak na may kapansanan para pag dumating ang pangangailangan, alam niya ang gagawin. Diba? Hindi. At alam nasaan yung whistle. Kanina sinabi may emergency kit, saan natin ilalagay? O yung whistle, saan nakalagay? Hindi pag may emergency, naku, yung whistle nasaan? Diba? So, isa sa mga paghahanda na dapat gawin. Marami yung kanyang sinabi kanina. Diba? Na paghahanda sa iba't ibang klase ng emergency. Alam nyo ba, mga nanay, mga guro, mga health workers, nakasama ito dun sa United Nations Convention on the Rights of the Child. United Nations Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities. Kasama ang mga bata at mga kabataang may kapansanan. Sinasabi na state parties, ang Pilipinas ay state party sa UNCRPD, pumirma tayo doon. In accordance with their obligations under international law, including international humanitarian law and international human rights, all necessary measures to ensure the protection and safety of persons with disabilities in situations of risk, including situations of armed conflict. Alam niyo ba to? Yung may nangyayaring paglalaban tulad ng nagaganap sa Mindanao. Humanitarian emergencies katulad ng pagbaha, lindol, at iba pang emergencies. And the occurrence of natural disasters. Natural disaster o sabi nila man-made disasters na medyo sa ating bansa ay may kalimitan. Yung pagbaha lang, di ba? Itong mga nakaraang buwan, ilang lugar sa ating bansa ang binaha at may landslide. Di ba? Paano kung biglang nangyari yon sa ating pamilya o sa lugar kung saan tayo nakatira? May paghahanda ba tayong ginawa? Yung ating bang miyembro na may kapansanan, inihanda ba natin siya para dito? Di ba? So napaka-importante. So I hope, sabi ko nga, nakinig kayong mabuti, nakinig tayong mabuti. Ako nanonood ako mula kanina. No? Kasi nung makakonect ako dito sa aking cellphone, nakinig ako kay Sir Mark. At napakaganda ng kanyang mga sinabi. Kailangan lang nating seryosohang pag-isipan at isagawa. No? Isagawa. Sana magsimula tayo kaagad. Kasi baka makalimutan na natin yung sinabi ni Sir Mark. Diba? Paunti-unti. Hindi naman yan syempre kayong isang araw nagawa nyo lahat. Hindi naman ganun. Ang paghahanda naman din ay gradual. Diba? So, dahan-dahan din, with the hope na wala munang mangyayari agad-agad na emergency. Pero siguro unahin natin ano yung kinakailangan una nating gawin. Diba? So, hindi lang yung ating miyembrong walang kapansanan ang ihahanda, kundi lahat ng miyembro, lalong-lalo na ang may kapansanan. Dahil ayaw natin silang maiwanan. Okay? Ayaw natin silang maiwanan. Siyempre, isasama natin sila sa pagliligtas ng ating pamilya sa emergency. No? So sana, sabi kanina, may Q&A tayo. Sana huwag kayong mahiyang magtanong. No? Yung mga katanungan ninyo, yung medyo hindi masyadong malinaw sa inyo, yung mga tanong pa ninyo na medyo hindi nabanggit kanina, huwag tayong mahiyang magsabi. Pwede nating ilagay sa chat box. Diba? O kung gusto naman nating mag-share din ng ating mga karanasan, o baka meron tayong best practice, o mga insights, pwede rin naman nating ibahagi itong mga to. I'm sure other participants would also benefit from your sharing. No? So, isip-isipin na natin ano nga ba ang aking mga katanungan kay Sir Mark. Ito kasi nararanasan ko katulad nung lumindol. Hindi ko alam ang gagawin ko sa aking anak. Tama kaya yung iniisip ko? So, itanong natin kay Sir Mark. No, para alam natin tama ba yung ginagawa natin, yung pinaplano nating gawin kung hindi niya pa nabanggit kanina. Okay? So napaka-importante nito, ito ay isa sa mga karapatan ng mga taong may kapansanan. So dapat nating ibigay sa kanila dahil ito ay hindi lang pangangailangan kundi karapatan nila. At nais ko rin pasalamatan yung aming team sa Northfield na nagsumika para mabuo natin ang webinar sa araw na ito. Kasi kung hindi sa kanila, wala tayong webinar ngayon. Of course, sa pangunguna ni Sir Ranil, kasama si Tess, si Clarice, si Kai, si Gingy, nakita ko si Gingy, si Lou, si Ron, at iba pang miyembro ng staff ng Northfield. At nais ko rin kayong pasalamatan. And of course, si Sir Mark, I know Saturday is supposedly rest day, family day, pero nandito kayo para makinig at lumahok sa ating napakahalagang webinar. And I'm sure hindi kayo magsisisi dahil ang dami ngang ibinahagi sa atin. No? So muli, maraming salamat sa inyong lahat sa pag-attend ng seminar at maraming salamat kay Sir Mark. Magandang hapon at mabuhay.
Maraming salamat, Mr. E. No, G, pa-shoutout daw muna. Ang sabi ni Teacher Ian Pino, no, ng INFI. Sir Mark, effective daw yung webinar mo kasi yung anak niya na may Down syndrome ngayon, naghahanda na ng go bag niya. Pinakita sa akin yung picture ng kanyang anak, no, na may go bag na. Nakikinig din, naintindihan yung anak niya na may Down syndrome, no, si Luwick, no, yung lecture ni Teacher Mark. Okay, sige. G, yung mga tanong, no, may mga tanong na tayo, no, siguro mamaya, no, pwede naman natin i-unmute, no, yung mga participants natin, no, na gustong magtanong, and then nandyan na rin, no, sa ating chat box, no, ang ating evaluation form, no. Kailangan, no, mag-fill up ng evaluation form, no, yung ating mga participants para mabigyan kayo, no, ng certificate of attendance. Okay, sige G, go. May mga tanong na ba tayo, no, kay Teacher Mark?
Yes, sir. Meron na po tayo sa Zoom at sa Facebook. Mag-aasong po ng help kay Miss Lou at kay Miss Cathy kung pwede po nila i-check doon po sa attendance natin na naka-raise po ng hand kung ready na po ba sila mag-unmute ng mic so they can tell their questions straight to Teacher Mark. But while they're facilitating that, meron din po tayong question from our Facebook comments.
Wait
Sir
lang
Mark.
po muna, Ma'am Gingy. Pwedeng palit na po kami ni Miss Geng. Nakapasok na po raw siya.
Ay, okay po. Magpapalit lang po muna tayo ng ating sign language interpreter.
Palit lang po ng sign language interpreter. Genevieve Facto
Thank you,
po.
Ma'am Aisel.
Welcome po, Sir Mark. Magpe-prepare po ako kasi may mas po si Bishop mamaya.
Okay po.
Sige po. Thank you,
Pero
Teacher
nandito pa rin
Aisel.
po ako. Ano lang
Okay,
po
thank you,
ako.
Teacher Aisel. Papasukin na si ano? Jenny B?
Geng po.
Jenny B,
Jenny
okay. Sige. Nandito na ba siya?
Nakapasok na puro yata siya.
Okay, sana sa panelist yan nakapasok. Okay.
Ilas ante siya pumasok.
Miss
Baka
Jenny.
sa participant siya pumasok, teacher.
Yes, pa-accept na lang po ng invite for sa promotion
Siguro naman
panelist.
naririnig niya. Naririnig naman. Naririnig saan? Okay.
Jen, accept ng invite, Jen, para makita.
Ayun na po, nakikita ko na po siya. Genevieve Factor po. May picture po yung kanya. Ano. Open ka na, gang, ng video mo.
Ayan, okay na, nandiyan na, nakikita na siya. Pwede na siya mapin, Lu. Yan, okay, sige, questions. G, welcome, Jen. Okay.
Okay, so let's start with our question from our Facebook Live. Thank you po sa mga natutunan namin pagtulong sa mga bata sa panahon ng emergency. Pero sana po ay ma-specify ninyo ang mga emergencies, remedies to these emergencies, bawat bata. Kasi iba-iba po ang mga kapansanan ng mga bata. Salamat po. Teacher Mark, pwede daw po ba kayo magbigay ng mga examples and how to help children depending on mobility po ba na impairment, developmental?
Ayan.
Papasubos, Teacher Mark, isa-isa. Autism, intellectual impairment, ADHD. Okay, go lang, Teacher Mark.
Basically, no, for those na familiar sa tinatawag na IEP, no, yung Individual Educational Program, yung parting yun or yung bagay na yun is kinikater mo yung bata do sa yung kanyang ability do sa gagawin mong task. Okay? So parang ganun din gagawin natin na paano yung galaw natin na kunyari may lindol, paano may tuturo sa bata yon. So on my end, hindi ko siya mabibigyan na parang isang sombrero na one size fits all, no? So primarily, ititrain natin ang mga magulang, mga kuya, relatives, teachers, carers, and caregivers. Kasi sila yung mas kilala nila yung bata na ito weakness nito eh. Ito yung strength nito eh. Ito yung kaya nito eh. Okay? So, example na lang. Yung isang picture na pinakita ko na nasa Northfield ako noon. Kasama sila ma'am na naka-wheelchair si ma'am noon eh. So magkakaroon kami ng evacuation drill. Ang nasa isip ko, una, mabigat yung wheelchair niya. Not ideal for lifting. Kasi mamaya, pag binuhat namin yung wheelchair, mabaklas yung armrest. Or mabaklas naman yung footrest. Or we don't know, di ba? So yun yung parang biglaang moment. Ngayon, nasa isip ko, blanket carry ka namin, ma'am. So sabi niya, paano yun, Mark? Okay, so ginawa ko, kumuha ko ng isang volunteer. So sabi ko, ma'am, ganito po gagawin namin ha. Kunyari, ikaw po ito. Hihiga po kayo sa kumot, saka namin kayo bubuhatin. Yun yung tinatawag na blanket carry. So nung nakita niya yung procedure, sabi niya, Mark, hindi ako pwede sa ganyang buhat. Kasi siya, hindi siya yung pwedeng humiga na all flat. So kailangan may mga support pa sa ilalim. Kasi may stretch yung ligament niya or muscle niya sa hips, sa knee, ganun. So mahirap yung may stretch lahat yun. So added injury sa kanya. So doon pumapasok yung planning ng family. Okay? Pagpaplanuhan ng family at kung kailangan mo ng tulong sa kapitbahay ko sa kasakali, pagplanuhan nyo, ganito ibababa si mami, ganito ilalabas si kuya. Okay? So ganun yung mga approach. So lahat yan mag-a-adjust dun sa capability ng bata.
Teacher, parang sinasabi ni Teacher Mark, no? Actually, maganda yung sinasabi niya, no, ni Teacher Mark. Dapat customize siya. Halimbawa, yes. Teacher Mark, no? Ano ang gagawin ng isang pamilya? Paano sila iti-train? Actually, ito talaga yung purpose natin eh. Kung ang pamilya, no, ay may anak na may autism. So, ano ang gagawin para mas maihanda ng pamilya na ihanda niya rin, no, ang buong pamilya at ang kanyang anak sakaling may emergency. So ito focus siya, no, sa person with autism. No, kung anak niya naman ay deaf, so ano naman ang specific, no, na i-customize dahil ang anak niya deaf. Siguro Teacher Mark, na baka next time yan yung ating pag-uusapan. Yan talaga yung iti-train, no? I-identify natin ang specific condition, no, ng isang individual at i-customize natin yung training doon na ang pipiliin, halimbawa, lahat lang ng mga magulang na may anak na may autism, sila iti-train natin. Lahat lang ng mga magulang na may anak na may Down syndrome, sila ang iti-train natin. Lahat ng mga magulang na may anak na may cerebral palsy, sila ang iti-train natin. At bigyan talaga sila ng skill, no, knowledge and skill talaga, at i-try natin siguro na i-demo at saka ipa-practice, di ba? Kasi kung minsan pag information medyo, di ba, madali natin nakakalimutan, no? So yun siya. Halimbawa si Jinji, no, kung merong kung may seizure si Jinji, sinabi ang kanina ni Teacher Mark, ano ang mga preparation, ano yung mga precaution, no? Pag ang isang tao ay merong seizure disorder. Siguro ganon si Teacher Mark.
Yes po. Yun, pwede siyang i-tailor fit. Basta importante yung family members are knowledgeable or well-trained para mapa-implement nila sa anak nila kung paano gagawin. Na halimbawa na lang mag-duck cover and hold. So, let's say for a person with autism, for some, mabilis nila ma-pick up yon. Turuan mo lang ngayon, bukas alam na yan. Kabisado na yan. But for other kids, you need to practice para lang ma-retain yung skill set na yon, yung mag-duck over and hold. Yun.
Okay, ano daw sabi ni Ma'am Cora Clarin, no? Welcome Ma'am Cora Clarin, no, from Cordova, Cebu. No, dapat daw, no, ganon, naka-tailor fit siya. Jay, parang may iba pa mga question, Jay. Tingnan mo, Jay.
Yes, sir. Tapos, sir, mayroon akong gusto i-share na insight po kasi tama po yung sinabi ni Teacher Mark po na importante po talaga na informed yung mga family members. Kasi po, in our experience po sa family, maraming pong PWD. Meron po kaming isang kamag-anak na meron siyang Albright syndrome. So, kahit madali lang siya, nababasag yung buto niya. Buti na lang po, meron po siyang siya po mismo, yung bata, alam niya how to handle her situation in case of an emergency. So nabali yung buto nung legs niya pareha. So kailangan siya i-rush sa hospital. Siya parang nagturo sa mga kuya niya kung ano dapat gawin. Pinaabot niya yung Barbie doll niya. Tapos through her Barbie doll, kwento niya kung anong sabi ng doktor pag emergency, paano siya ibubuhat. So meron siyang Barbie doll, meron siyang tissue paper, tapos pinakita niya paano ba dapat daw siya kargahin kung mabali nga yung mabuto niya. Tapos through her demonstration with her toy, doon siya nadala sa ospital. Kasi parehas ng magulang niya ay nagtatrabaho. So mga kasama niya lang, kapatid.
Yung condition niya, Jeb, brittle bone condition.
Para po siyang brittle bone syndrome po, pero mas rare po kasi kahit lang po talaga madali siya ng onti, nababasag po agad yung buto niya. Albright syndrome po ang tawag.
Okay, sige. Jay, meron pang questions tayo? I think maraming questions, Jay.
Sir, meron pong follow-up dun sa tanong po kanina for Teacher Mark. Paano naman daw po para sa anak niya po na bulag? Specifically, paano niya daw tuturuan tungkol sa emergency response? Yun nga po kung maging mag-isa yung bata.
Okay.
Ayun. Sa blind, minsan iniisip ko, sila pa yung baka mag-rescue sa'yo eh. For example, kailangan ng evacuation, then all lights out. Mas kabisado nila yung um, yung daanan, yung exit, no? While ikaw na biglang hindi ka nakakita, kabado ka na, di ba? So yun, may advantage sila pagdating sa ganung emergency, no? Ngayon, pwede silang maturuan, for example, basic life support, no? Kaya makakapa naman nila kung ang tao ba ay humihinga or wala ng pulso. Okay, kaya naman nilang hanapin kung saan ang sentro ng dibdib at kaya naman nila magbigay ng chest compressions. Okay? So maganda yung suggestion din ni Sir, no? Para bang ni Sir Ranil na pwede tayong mag-cater kung mapapayagan lang sana ng face to face, ano? Pero limited lang siguro. Hindi kagaya ng mga dati na kaya natin magkuha ng 30, 50 sa isang classroom. Siguro ngayon baka 10 lang, no? So at least doon maiki-cater natin, mati-tailor kasi ako tatanungin ko rin naman tatanungin ko rin naman yung family, yung caregiver or for example yung therapist nung student, no? Kung ano yung kanyang skills or paano siya mas madaling maka-pick up nung lesson. So iti-tailor fit natin 'yon. So parang nag-IEP tayo bawat isang student. Yun po.
Ito kasi yung follow-up niya, Teacher Mark, no? Siguro yung mga specific, no? Halimbawa, sa mga specific na emergencies, no? Papaano maturuan daw ang at matutunan, no, ng mga bulag, no? Ang mga emergency response. So sinabi ka na, Teacher Mark, no? Baka sila pa yung tutulong pero kung kabisado na nila, pero kung hindi pa nila kabisado, Teacher Mark, yung mga basic, no, na emergency response, paano kaya matuturuan, no, ang mga bulag natin na mga kasapi, no, ng pamilya natin.
Ayun, naalala ko po noon sa ILC po ako noon. May student kami sa classroom na mute, deaf and blind, no? So pag nagbibigay siya ng sign language, ang sign name ko pa noon is yung sa baba That's my sign name. Pero ngayon ang sign name ko is ganito, no? So pag nagtuturo sa kanya is kailangan makapa niya. So yun yung challenge din doon. So I need the caregiver para mai-deliver ko yung gusto kong mangyari na, for example, this is what will you do pag merong fire or may narinig ka nag-activate yung smoke alarm, automatic lalabas ka na ng bahay, pupunta ka na doon sa let's say parang waiting area, for example. So hintay mo doon yung mga kasama mo sa bahay, mga relatives mo. Okay? So lahat yan ipaplano yan kung paano gagawin for, let's say, for fire, for earthquake, or for flood. Yun. So lahat yan kailangan ma-practice. And yung mga binanggit ko ng mga tools and equipment, no, na redundancy, sana meron. Kasi the moment na walang hearing aid yung tao, the moment na walang communication aid yung isang tao like braille, may hirapan na siya. Okay, so kailangan ikaw na rin mismo magpe-prepare para sa kanya na just in case mawala ito, meron kang isa pang backup. Yun po.
At sinabi ni Teacher Mark J, yan yung isa sa mga kasama namin, no, na magulang, no, si Ma'am Celia Garcia, Teacher Mark, yung anak niya ay deafblind. Mm-hmm. So mas challenging turuan, no, yung mga deafblind. Sige, Miss Jinji, may mga tanong pa sa ating chat box. Oh?
May follow-up po ulit,
Teacher Mark. Mga participants, no, marami pa silang katanungan, Teacher Mark.
Ayun. Ay, sorry. Sir Ranil, sorry. Naalala ko din pala doon sa class natin doon sa Northfield, no? Kasi yung kid, nung tinignan ko, kasi di ko naman nakita pa lahat ko ano yung mga nila yung kanilang mga kung meron ba problem sa hearing, ganyan. Yung isa doon, kasi akala ko nakakakita. Kasi kita ko naman, all is okay. Binulungan ako nung caregiver, Sir Mark, medyo siya, yung tawag doon, partially lang yung nakikita niya.
Oo.
Yun. Nagtuturo ako noon ng CPR. So hindi pala niya mas nakikita in whole picture. So tinuruan ko muna na ikapa na ito yung dummy, hanapin mo muna yung center of the chest. Yun. So kumbaga talagang tailor fit. Makita mo muna yung ano yung kayang gawin ng bata, then ikaw na mag tailor fit pa paano mo siya i-deliver para yung lesson mo or yung training na ibibigay mo makuha niya agad.
Sige, G. Some more questions.
Teacher Mark, ito naman daw po, sakto po sa CPR rin po ang tanong niya. Paano po kung dahil sa kanyang impairment, mahina ang kanyang left hand? Paano kung hindi daw po enough yung strength para magawa ang CPR? Ano po ang pwede niyang alternative po?
Okay. So, nabanggit, dun sa case na yan, nabanggit is mahina yung left hand.
Yes po.
So, let's assume malakas yung right hand. Tama? Okay. Ngayon sa CPR, mayroong sinasabi nga high quality CPR. So, pag sinabing high quality CPR, ang importante doon, matarget mo yung, syempre, location, kung nasaan, center of the chest. 100 to 120 chest compressions per minute. Kaya naman siguro gawin ng right hand yun. And then yung chest compressions should be about 2 inches to 2.4 depth, yung lalim. So push hard, push fast. Okay? Sa usual na turo, kung nakikita yung video ko, no, the usual na turo is syempre nakaganyan yung kamay. Yan din na sinasabi ko na what if kung yung tao is merong congenital defect, pinanganak lang na isang kamay. Ito bang kanang kamay na to hindi kayang gumawa ng 100 to 120 chest per minute? Hindi ba niya kayang mag-push ng malalim? Diba? So pwede. Sir, paano pag walang daliri? Parang ganon. So yung ang daming tanong noon. So sabi ko, basta importante kahit hindi mo to magawang dito, interlaced. Okay? Yung iba kasi, sabi natin yung mahilig sa mga peanuts, may arthritis na hindi may interlace yung daliri ng ganyan. So sabi ko, pwede naman pong ganyan. Wala pong kaso yun. Wala pong kaso kahit ganyan lang or kahit one hand. Yun po.
Thank
Kumbaga,
you very much.
ayun, dagdag ko pala doon na as long as yung intention mong tumulong at gumawa ng tulong at alam mo rin na tama yung paggawa mo ng tulong, mas makakabuti yun. Yun po.
Ito naman po, Teacher Mark, sa sunog naman po, kasi na-mention nga po ni Miss Nuki na very rampant ngayon dahil kaka-All Saints Day lang po natin. Paano daw po nila malalabas safely yung kamag-anak nila na may wheelchair kung sakali magkaroon ng sunog sa kanilang lugar?
Okay. So, pagka gano'n, no, sa mga person who uses wheelchair, family planning, kung paano nila bubuhatin yung wheelchair, ano yung mga, kumbaga nabanggit ko doon kanina yung how to operate or how to use the wheelchair, paano mo ida-drive yung wheelchair packet o pababa ng rampa, may technique po yan, paano iikot or yung mga dismantle or yung pag-fold and pag-deploy ng wheelchair. Okay, so hindi natin alam kung doon sa nagtanong if sila ba ay nakatira sa bungalow lang, so walang problema, you just roll it out. Okay? Pero kung sakali naman nasa mga high-rise building, okay, mainam na natanong sa akin yan, nasa Northfield ako noon. Sabi, Sir Mark, magkano ba yung stair chair na yan? Yung pinakita mo sa slide. Yung sa slide ko kanina, yung kulay orange. So sabi ko po noon sa Bambang, parang alam ko na sa 8 to 10,000 or 8 to 15,000. Sabi niya, Mark, mahal naman nun. Ang sagot ko naman, pero di ba love mo naman si Mami, di ba? Oh, so love mo naman si Mrs., di ba? Sige, yun. So siguro naisip niya na wala, barya lang yun. 8,000, 15,000, barya lang yun. Kumpara mo yung buhay ng tao. Diba?
Teacher Mark, natandaan ko yon. Yung si Mami mag-asawa, sila mga PT din yun eh.
Yeah,
opo. May kabigatan yon yung babae, di ba?
Opo.
Kaya hindi na siya natin, di ba, binaba, no?
Opo.
Doon, kasi hindi niya talaga kaya, di ba? Kasi
Opo.
ano talaga yun, may live talagang demo at saka training talaga yung ginawa ni Teacher Mark, no, doon sa COVID.
Kumbaga, that time, dahil hindi naman emergency, drill lang. So parang in-excuse ko na lang muna po parang, sige, wag na lang muna kasi nabanggit ni Mami, pag humiga daw siya ng flat, lahat ng muscles niya sa likod, hamstring, sa knee, may stretch, mas kawawa siya, magkakaroon siya ng injury. So sabi ko, so ito yung mga bagay na pinaplano na sa bahay para just in case it happened, madali siyang mailabas ng kumbaga do no harm, okay? Na do sa ililigtas nating tao.
Okay po, ready na po tayo sa next question po.
Yes po.
Teacher Mark, ngayong pandemic context, paano po kung nakita ko pong tao ay kailangan talaga ng mouth-to-mouth resuscitation pero takot siya sa COVID? Meron daw po bang alternative?
Okay, number one, if lay rescuer or sinasabi natin nga bystander, ang pwede lang po natin gawin is kahit nung wala pang COVID, no? Kahit wala pang COVID noon, is meron ng hands-only CPR. Okay? Pinopromote din yung hands-only CPR para just in case na parang wala pang pandemic na parang naalanganin kang i-mouth to mouth yung tao kasi hindi mo kilala. Di ba? So at least mabigyan siya ng hands-only CPR. Ngayon, nagkaroon na ng pandemic, nagkaroon na ng COVID, mas in-encourage pa rin yung, tinutuloy pa rin, i-encourage yung tinatawag na hands-only CPR. Pero kung trained yung tao, like let's say emergency medical technician or doctor at may mga kagamitan, pwede niyang gamitin like yung tinatawag na yung naririnig natin sa mga pelikula, ambubag or BVM or bag valve mask. Yun yung binobomba dun sa bibig ng victim or ng patient.
Naman po, Teacher Mark, we will let one of our participants ask you directly their question. Miss Maribel, ready na po ba kayo mag-unmute po ng mic niyo po?
Ayun, nag-raise siya ng hand. Si Ma'am Maribel Bandejo.
So habang inantay siya, Jim, meron kasing tanong dito, Teacher Mark, no? Ang anak ko ay merong ASD, 11 years old siya. Nahirapan po siya sa paggamit ng pito. Meron po bang pampalit sa pito para sa kanyang anak?
Okay.
Ano ba yung alternative sa pito, Teacher Mark?
Okay, alternative sa pito.
Ayan, ready. Prepare talaga si Teacher Mark.
Idagdag ko na rin po yung sa flashlight, no? Sa flashlight. Yung short, long, short, or sa Morse code, dit, dot, dit. So, paano yun? Short, long, short. Okay? Yun yung para sa flashlight. Yung sa whistle, na-demo ko na po kanina. Ngayon, paano pagka hindi nga, o let's say may problem sa yung pag-blow ng whistle. Okay? Pwede mag-tap ng pipe or ng table. Okay, pwede pong ganun. Lalo na pagka natrap ka sa ilalim ng kunyari may basement kayo, hindi ka na makasigaw, pagod ka na, pause ka na, or nahihirapang gumamit ng whistle, okay, pwede siya mag-tap or mag-clap. Parang music class, ano? Hindi ko na alam yung mga quarter notes. Parang ganon. Eto, yung kamay, tools na yan, okay? Pwede na yan.
Ay, para po na-disconnect po si Mama Maribel.
Mm-hmm.
Sige po, move po muna tayo sa iba muna na tanong. If there is an earthquake, is it possible to ride in a car for a lame person or a senior citizen?
Kung kung kasagsagan na lumilindol at nakasakay, mas maigi na huminto muna yung sasakyan. Okay? Huminto muna yung sasakyan, tumabi, and kung maaari, medyo ready ka nang lumabas ng sasakyan. Parang ganun din po sa earthquake sa bahay. Yung tinatawag na duck cover and hold. But the problem, yung mga tinuturo na duck cover and hold, nakapasok sa ilalim ng lamesa, naka-cover yung sense of sight mo. So hindi mo nakikita kung ano yung nahuhulog. I'm sure nakita nyo siguro yung nag-viral na video ng isang security guard, I think in Davao. So ang ginawa lang niya, pumesto lang siya sa tabi ng podium niya. Tapos tinitignan niya yung pwedeng mahulog. Okay? And yung position niya, yung alam niyo sa Olympics, yung magre-ready, get set, go na, yung tatakbo. Tripod positioning po tawag doon. So kailangan parang ready to run ka na. Ganon din sa kotse. Kasi what if kung nakastay ka sa loob, nakasarado pa yung pintuan ng sasakyan at may bumagsak, may ipit ka na po sa loob. At least open yung door, ready to ano ka na rin just in case. And titingin ka na rin sa mga possible na pwedeng bumagsak sa iyo. Like poste ng Meralco, o may bumagsak na mga debris galing sa mga gusali. Yan.
Teacher Mark, follow up po ulit doon sa nagtanong sa kung mahina ang left hand niya po.
Opo.
Paano daw po kung right hand niya rin daw po mahina? Ang paa po ba pwede gamitin sa pagbigay ng CPR?
Ayan. It happens sa mga pag nagle-lecture na ako yung mga face-to-face, no? Kumbaga ito yung mga tipong outside of the box. No? Mga wala na sabihin natin, wala na to sa textbook. Pero parang ano yan parang kwentong Sir Ranil, lulubog yung bangka. Ako, si Ma'am Genevieve, si Ma'am Gingy, ikaw, apat tayo. Sinong uunahin mo? Parang ganyan, no? So, yan yung mga scenario na what if kailan dalawa, okay, or kailan tatlo nandoon, tapos yung isang may iwan, let's say, ang tawag doon, I forgot Yung pag walang arms, I forgot the term Quadriplegic.
Double amputee po.
Basta Teacher Mark meron
yun.
yan.
So, yun. Basta yun. So sabi ko, siguro, hindi naman siguro masamang tuhuran mo. Basta mabigay mo yung sinasabing 100 to 120 chest compressions per minute, yung 2 to 2.4 inches depth do sa chest niya, I think pwede ka magbigay ng CPR. Di ba? Kumbaga parang at least you give a try. Kasi ikaw lang talaga nandoon Ikaw tsaka yung tao na yun. Di ba? Kumbaga parang you have no choice but there's still an option na pwede ka magbigay ng CPR. Pero yun, tamang ano na lang siya, tamang outside of the box or out of the textbook.
Ngayon po, Teacher Mark, follow up naman daw po doon sa earthquake question po. Paano naman ang isang wheelchair user hindi siya makakapag-duck cover and hold? Ano
Okay.
daw po ang best na gawin nila?
Okay, sa person who uses wheelchair, I advocate na meron siyang kumbaga may naka-side sa kanya na na helmet or hard hat. Okay, sa side niya. Lagay siya sa ulo niya. Then medyo magbe-bend down lang siya ng konti kasi hindi naman siya let's assume na hindi siya makakababa sa kanyang wheelchair. Pero kung makakababa siya sa wheelchair, pwede niya ipangkalang yung wheelchair. Pwede siyang tumabi doon. As pretend to be na parang siya yung table, no? Pwedeng ganun. Pero kung hindi siya makakababa sa wheelchair, gumilid lang siya, ilak niya yung wheels. Kung may helmet, better, suot niya. Tapos medyo mag-bend down lang. And make sure aware siya sa mga nakikita niya na pwedeng bumagsak. Okay? Or pwedeng tumumba sa kanya. Yun po.
Hanap pa po ako kung may mga tanong pa po sila. Meron pa po ba kayong mga tanong kay Teacher Mark? Pwede nyo po ilagay sa ating chat box or pwede nyo rin po ulit isend sa akin directly kung may tanong pa po kayo kay Teacher Mark.
Okay. Teacher Mark, meron ka na bang karanasan, no? Kung paano mo tinuruan, ginabayan, no? Halimbawa, ang pamilya, no, na may anak na may autism. Paano mo sila talaga tinrain, no, na mahanda, no, para sa isang emerhensya? Okay.
Okay. To be honest, no, mas madaling magbigay ng turo or ng training sa isang organization like Norphil, no? Naki-cater out na nila 'yan. Kumbaga madaling mag-invite ng participants, no? Pero alam mo, doon pa rin po yung sa family, yung hindi sila ganun ka-open na about this kind of emergencies na parang hindi naman mangyayari yan eh. 'Di ba? Parang gano'n. So it's a challenge for me. Kaya yan din na naging parang advocacy ko at ng Autism Response PH, yung bridging the critical gap between the families and the emergency responders. So hindi lang ako nakafocus sa emergency responders, hindi rin lang ako nakafocus sa family alone. So pareho sila. Gusto ko sila itawid sa tulay, no, ng sabay. Kasi parang nakikita ko din yung not all the time na si family lalapit sa isang kunyari disaster risk reduction management unit na tulungan niyo naman kami, paano ba yung training na ganito? Or not all this disaster risk reduction management unit pupunta sa isang organization, hahanap ng mga possible students and participants na iti-train. Okay? So very very yung percentage maliit pa rin sa totoo lang po. So kaya maganda at natutuwa ako dito ang Norphil na making it available, no? Kagaya ngayon, siguro baka sa iba ayaw umattend face to face for example, pero available tayo sa Facebook Live, then they can watch, they can learn. Pero ako hindi lang ako nandito sa harap nyo as parang the super expert, no? Even ako din, natututo rin ako. Kahit nung nasa Norphil ako noon, natuto rin ako. Sabi ni Sir Ranil sa akin noon, Sir Mark, hindi na po pwedeng gumamit ng word na wheelchair bound, ha? Yan. Kasi that time, yun yung ginagamit namin sa PT. Now, dito na tayo sa profession natin, sa trabaho. Andiyan na yung nabanggit ni Ma'am Gingy din, or even do sa yung video presentation about the politically correct term. Ayan. Diyan na tayo yung nagiging aware. Kaya thankful ako kay Sir Ranil for diba? So ako din natututo rin ako sa inyo. Yun po.
G, may dalawang tanong pa G sa ating sa ating chat. Okay, chat box G.
Sir, meron po tayong bagong tanong, lived experience po this month. Dahil po nga dun sa mga sunog. Sa Facebook Live po siya nagtatanong kay Teacher Mark. Babasahin ko na lang po para ma-feel natin yung nangyari. Paano po, Sir Mark, yung anak ko na may Down syndrome? Takot po siya, lalo nang nakita niya, nagkagulo mga tao one time po dito sa amin. Nasunog po yung gilid ng bahay namin, nawala po ako. Lalo lang siya natakot at nagtago po siya. Di ko siya mahanap noon. Paano kaya mapapaliwanag sa kanya, 12 years old lang po siya, ang ugali na dapat niyang meron pagka ganito nagpapanik or nagkakagulo?
Okay. So, maganda example din niya. Kung naalala niyo isang sitwasyon na mag-ina na natrap sa apartment nila sa Manila.
Oh.
Okay, doon mismo sa yung grills kasi nandoon yung fire exit. Okay? The picture is very graphic, even though I have a copy of it, ayokong i-share kasi 'Di ba? Parang nakakalungkot, no? Tumatay balahibo ko. So yung mag-ina. Okay? So ano naging problem doon sa kanila? Sa kanilang mag-ina? Maaring si Mami alam niya yung kailangan niya ng hangin siguro. Kaya tumapat siya doon sa grills. Or alam niya doon sa grills na yon, fire exit din yon. But the problem is, alam niya, maari. Pero napapractice ba? Even sa atin ngayon, di ba? Check niyo yung bahay niyo. Check niyo yung condo niyo. Yes, for sure, alam niyo may fire exit. But the thing is, praktisado niyo bang ikutin, no? Or naitur na ba kayo ng mga landlady or ng mga condo managers for that, no? So dapat every year yan or twice a year meron kayong fire drill pag sa mga condo or even sa family. Okay, so just like yan na nangyari na nataranta siya, no? Or nagulat at wala yung magulang sa bahay. Okay? So iti-train mo yung anak mo, okay? Pagka ganito may nangyari, nagkakagulo sa bahay, meron kayong meet up location, no? Na malapit. Or halimbawa na sa barangay hall, anak, pag may kaguluhan dito sa bahay, punta ka lang kay Kapitan Berto. Okay? Mabait na tao yan. Mga ganon. Parang ako nung araw, pag pupunta kami ng SM North EDSA, Mark, pag nawala ka, tumayo ka lang dyan kay Jollibee. Diba? Ganun lang. Okay, so tinitrain ka na ng magulang mo na pag nawala ka or parang hindi mo na kami nakita, balik ka lang dito, basta maghanap ka lang ng Jollibee, pupuntahan ka namin doon. Okay. Tapos doon naman sa kwento sa tanong niyo kanina, maganda rin na meron silang fire extinguisher. Paano gamitin ang fire extinguisher? Meron ding smoke alarm. Anong gagawin ng bata kapag narinig yung smoke alarm? Saan lalabas? Okay? At saan na mag-i-stay? Oras na lumabas, ang tanong, kailangan ba siyang bumalik? Hindi. Okay? Once you're out, stay outside. Okay? Kasi mamaya baka bumalik siya, yun yung problema. Kaya yan yung tinuturo ko din na for example sa person with autism, pag lumabas na yung bata, make sure may nakabantay dyan. Okay? Babantayan niyo yung bata. Kasi mamaya biglang maisip ng bata, uy teka, yung charger ng iPad ko, yung charger ng tablet ko, babalik ako doon. Or yung headphone ko, earphones ko, babalik ako doon. No. So kailangan bantayan niyo yun talaga. Ayun, ano pa? And yun, family planning and practice, no? Kung paano lumabas. And of course, kahit naman na sa mga walang kapansanan, nagiging matik na taguan yung bathroom. Kasi alam na may tubig, no? Pero mali po yun. Basta importante kung may sunog sa bahay, kung kayang apulahin, kayang patayin, go. Pero kung hindi na talaga, lumabas ng bahay. Okay? Yung mga bagay na yan, mga gadgets na yan, madaling bilhin yan, madaling pag-ipunan yan. Pero yung buhay ng tao, yun ang hindi natin kayang mapantayan at mapalitan.
Very much, Teacher Mark. Sana po nanonood pa rin po yung nanay na nag-share ng kwento nila. Sana po pagkatapos po nitong webinar natin, makausap nyo na po ulit yung anak nyo na may Down syndrome, tapos paunti-unti, maturuan nyo rin po siya kung saan po ba kayo magkikita if ever magkaroon ulit po ng emergency situation.
Yes. Ma'am Gingy.
Naman, ay.
Yun, sorry. Biglang dumadating sa isip ko eh. Isipin na lang po natin mga parents, no? Ang laki ng problema natin na kapag kayong bata hindi toilet trained, di ba? Pag wiwi magpupo. Isipin nyo yung mga pamaraan na ginawa nyo nung araw para ma-toilet train siya. So ganun din ang gagawin natin, no? Paano pag may sunog, paano pag may baha, paano pag may lindol. So lahat 'yan continuous training and learning, no? Tailored style sa mga bawat bata. Yun po. Go ahead, Ma'am Gingy. Sorry.
Yung mga question na iba, Teacher Mark, sinagot mo na eh. Kasi parang ito yung mga tanong nila, pero related na rin sagot mo. Ang autism po, ayaw nila ng malakas na tunog tulad ng kulog, kidlat, bukod pa sa earphone. Ano pa po ang pwedeng gagawin nila? Mawala ang takot nila. Okay, ubusin ko lang, Teacher Mark. In times of flood, ASD po yung son ko. Then malaki pa siya sa akin. Ano po ang pwede kong gawin? O yun. Parang sinagot mo na rin yan kanina, Teacher Mark. Ulitin mo nga kung paano niya tinuruan yung ASD, yung anak nila ng toilet training. Teacher Mark, naka-mute ata kayo.
Ayan, sorry.
Ayan.
Sorry. Meron po tayong paghahanda na pwedeng gawin sa bahay. Ngayong pandemic po, ang dami at nagkalat ang mga alcohol, nagdigalon. Okay? Kagaya po na nakikita nyo ngayon. Kung mapapansin nyo, parang may kulay blue sa ilalim, no? May kulay asul sa ilalim. Yan po ay nilagyan ko lamang po ng pwedeng food coloring. Pero ito galing po to sa aking aquarium, yung gamot. Bakit ko nilagyan ng konting tubig at may konting kulay?
Nag-freeze ata, si Teacher Mark.
Ako rin po, sir, na disco, kakabalik ko lang po.
Okay, sige.
Siguro malapit ang bahay ni Teacher Mark sa amin. Ako rin po nawala ng connection. Hintayin lang po muna natin si Teacher Mark.
Teacher Mark eh.
Siguro po kung meron pa po tayo mga katanungan habang hinihintay po natin
siguro habang hinihintay natin si Teacher Mark, Lou, paki-flash Lou yung aking PowerPoint presentation, yung activities ng Norfield para maipaalam na natin sa ating mga participants ngayon habang inaantay natin si Teacher Mark na bumalik. Miss Lou, pa-share screen. Ay, sorry, Miss Lou, hindi yan. Kay activities ng Norfield, sorry. Hindi pala yan. Okay, sorry. Antayin natin si Teacher Mark. Jean, nakikita ba yung screen ko?
Sir, still loading po. Ayan po, sir.
Okay, sige, habang inaantay natin si Teacher Mark sa mga ating mga participants ngayon. Ito yung mga activities ng Norfield sa susunod na mga araw. And these are all free. Una, sa next Saturday, November 23, 1:30 to 4:30 p.m., meron tayong ulit webinar. Everyone can work, vocational education and work transition. Okay, sorry, it's November 13. Sorry, it's November 13. Okay, this is November 13. I will repeat. Everyone can work, vocational education and work transition for learners with disabilities. November 13. This is next Saturday from 1:30 to 4:30 p.m. And then, community-based rehabilitation, strategy for the genuine inclusion of persons with disabilities. Ito naman sa December 3, Friday, 1:30 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. No, I think nandito yung ating speaker, no, si Miss Clarice Titesio, at ang isa sa mga sharer, si Miss Cora Clarin, no, ng PIDAW ng Cordova, Cebu. And then yung ating annual 2021 Friendship Games, no, of children with disabilities. This will be on December 4, Saturday, 8:30 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. No, itong dalawang activities natin, this is in relation to the International Day of Persons with Disabilities. No, so maglagay din kami, no, sa FB page, no, ng Northfield, and then for the friendship games, no, mag-schedule tayo, no, ng orientation meeting sa lahat ng mga coordinator ng iba't ibang grupo, no, na kaanib ng Northfield. Okay, thank you very much. Nandito na si Teacher Mark. Nakabalik na si Teacher Mark. Okay. Okay.
Okay po, ayun. So, nasan po tayo naputol kanina doon sa ito na throw line or throw bag, no? So, meron kang galon, meron kang tali ng mga sintaba ng hinlilitop. Okay? So, nakatali po yan sa handle ng alcohol na wala nang laman, no? Water gallon. At merong loop. Okay? At ito po ay mahaba. Ito naman po ay sa inyong end. Ako yung rescuer. Okay? So sa dulo nito, lalagyan ko ng loop para secure, no? Secure. Hawak ko siya para pag binato ko tong galon na to doon sa sabi nating maaring malunod, okay, or kailangan ng tulong, eh hindi naman pati buong tali ay masama. So at least hawak ko siya, maiwan sa akin. Pag ito napunta sa kanya at itong loop na to, makikita niya, ipapasok niya rin niya yung kamay niya. Okay? Hindi naman kailangan na mabuhatin siya ng tali na ito. Basta importante, meron ka tinatawag na parang lifeline doon sa possible na taong pwedeng malunod. Okay? Isa po doon sa mga naturuan ko po pala na about water safety is yung aking best man na si Nicolas Bermudo. Okay? So that time meron kaming dinemo na PFD, personal flotation device, no? So kung makachamba po sa Shopee o sa Lazada, paki-mine na lang po ito. Paki-mine na lang po. Okay? So at least mayroon kang ganitong halimbawa, flood prone area po kayo. Okay, Marikina. So ipa-practice mo kahit kasagsagan ng gabi or kasagsagan na sarap ng tulog sa madaling araw, gigisingin mo yung buong pamilya mo. Drill, it's a drill, it's a drill. Okay, lahat ng ano nyo, kailangan yung bitbitin, buhatin nyo na, magsuot na kayo ng life vest, lalabas na tayo ng bahay, pupunta tayo dun sa halimbawa sa Jollibee or McDonald's. Okay? So magpa-practice talaga kayo kahit makita kayo ng kapitbahay niyo na, uy, tingnan mo yung sila Guerrero family. Bakit man naka-life vest yan? Naglalakad, ang init-init, di ba? Practice 'yun eh. Kasi tingnan mo pagdating ng araw at nagkaroon ng biglaang pagbaha, only the family Guerrero is prepared, di ba? So yan, meron ka ng personal flotation device. Meron ka naman din improvised na throw line. Okay? So yun po. Ano pa ba? Ayun. Then pagdating naman po pala sa sunog, madalas natin nakikita kahit sa social media, ang hawak cellphone, video. Pero debate din yan sa mundo namin sa emergency medical services. At least nakikita daw yung kaganapan para ma-respond yan. But the thing is, yun ba ay pumasok sa sistema halimbawa na lang yung departamento ng mga bombero, na itawag ba yan? So yun yung importante. Call first. Kahit nasa pagbibigay ng CPR, andyan yung tinatawag natin, call first, call 911. Anong kailangan mo? Kailangan mo ng tulong ng pulis, tulong ng bombero, tulong medikal. Okay, yun po ang importante. Wag po yung FB Live. Wala po tayong mahihita po sa FB Live na pagka-reporting, no? Dahil sino ba yon? Sino ba nag-post? Anong oras ba? Ay sir, kahapon pa po yan. Akala ko ngayong araw di ba? So, doon tayo sa proper channeling. Yun po.
Okay, thank you Teacher Mark.
Thank you po.
Chi, baka one more question, no? Mag 4 o'clock na at parang humihina na yung internet connection nating lahat.
Opo. Dito na lang po, quick question. Kasi na-share nga ni Teacher Mark yung sa personal flotation device. Paano naman daw po doon sa helmet na sinuggest po kanina sa mga naka-wheelchair in case po may earthquake or landslide? Meron po bang specifications or meron po ba kayong masusuggest na hindi mahal or kayang gawin sa bahay na helmet?
Okay. Knowledge is power, no? So kailangan natin protektahan yung ating ulo, ating head, no? So kung magpo-purchase tayo ng mumurahin at baka konting maliit lang na tornilyo, halimbawa ay tumama doon at mabiyak na. So paano pa yung talagang malalaki tipak ng bato? So construction helmet sa mga maayos na tindahan, po pwede 'yon. Okay? Pero yung sa mga sidewalk, I cannot guarantee, no? Kasi baka mamaya ako habulin nyo na, Mark, sabi mo maganda yung helmet na puti or maganda yung helmet na orange, bumili ako doon sa may overpass. Pero nung nabagsakan lang ng malit na tipak na mas malit pa sa kamao ko, nabasag na. Di ba? So doon tayo sa mga doon tayo sa maayos na tindahan, mga hardware, ayan.
So Teacher Mark, bawal sa recto at sa Quiapo?
Hindi naman sir kasi meron din talaga dong meron talaga dong supplier na maayos sir sa recto at sa Quiapo po. Meron doon mga hardware na Basta wag lang po sa wag lang po sa tabi-tabi. Doon tayo doon sa merong istante, may stall, ganun. Wag po doon sa fly by night.
Okay, sige.
Agree po ako sa inyo, Teacher Mark. Na-try ko po dati bumili ng 20 pesos na hard hat na color blue. Hindi nga po siya nabasag, pero yung strap gumive up no emergency situation namin.
Ayun, di ba po?
Okay. Jay, meron pa ba? Sige, Teacher Mark, go lang.
Ayun. Dagdag ko lang po, no? I'm also a basic occupational safety and health trained, safety officer 2. Yung helmet na yan is considered as a personal protective equipment. So meron din po ginagawa ang Occupational Safety and Health Center ng mga testing sa ganyang hard hat. No? Kaya po sinasabi na mas maganda ay bumili po kayo sa mga kilalang tindahan o hardware. Kasi buhay po nakasalalay po dyan. Kung naalala nyo po, malamang Sir Ranil, naalala nyo po yung commercial ng SSS. May nakabitaw nakabitaw ng maso sa taas. Yun, tapos nabagsakan siya, di ba? So, yun lang yung natin doon. Quality protective personal equipment.
G, meron pa ba?
Meron pa pong isa. Siguro na ito na po talaga yung last na tatanungin po namin sa inyo, Teacher Mark. Meron po nagtatanong po sa chat box natin kung effective po ba talaga yung pag-stand ng 90 degree against a wall kapag earthquake po, pag walang table available na pagsusulungan daw po.
Pag-stand ng 90 degrees?
Yan nga rin po naisip ko. Tatayo lang po ako sa bayan.
Okay, ganito. Basically, pa rin yan, no? Parang open for debate or meron pa tinatawag dyan yung...
Sit daw po, not stand. Sit.
Sit.
Yung sabi niya.
Okay, yung talagang totally sit. Nakaupo, no? Okay, so ang best kasi dyan yung tripod positioning. Okay? Imagine mo na sa loob ka ng jeep, tapos dumaan siya sa malubak. subukan mo lang nakaupo ka lang, iikot ka sa loob ng jeep eh. Pero pagka naka-tripod position ka, medyo konting ano ka pa bumabalanse. So yun yung purpose ng tripod positioning. At least nakakabalanse ka, ready to move from one position to another in case na may babagsak sa'yo or may mahuhulog sa'yo. And yung meron din yung tinatawag na triangle of life. Yung iba, tinuturo na halimbawa na lang, lamesa yung object natin, ano? Meron duck cover and hold, under the table ka. Meron naman sa triangle of life, beside the table ka naman. Kasi sinasabi, kung ito yung lamesa, sasandal lang daw yung pader. Okay? Paano ko sabihin natin yung contractor ng pader nyo substandard pala. Okay? So nag-collapse, dito ka nakaupo So ito yung lamesa, ikaw ito, naka-crouch ka dyan or kneeling position or tripod positioning. Hindi ka under the bed, under the table, okay? Sumandal ang pader, pero substandard, wala palang mga bakal-bakal sa loob.
Collapse din po sa inyo.
'Di ba? Ikaw rin maiipit. Okay? So basta at least yung mga bagay na 'yon kumbaga at least may knowledge ka paano mo gagawin, paano ka mag-react in that situation kasi ikaw na yung nandiyan. Yung sitwasyon ni Sir Ranil na halimbawa ngayon ay lumilindol, iba yung sitwasyon niyo Ma'am Gingy at ni Ma'am Rochelle at sa akin. Okay? So we react differently pero we react at according to our knowledge and skills. Yun po.
Clarification daw po sa chat. Baka daw po yung 90 degrees na sinabi ay isang corner o sulok ng bahay kung walang mesa. Tripod position pa rin po ang best position po sa ganun.
Yan kanina just natin, Teacher Mark, yung triangle of life, di ba? Teacher Mark, yan yung mga sinishare ng iba daw na parang nasa triangle ka. Tama ba, Teacher Mark?
Okay, so sa mga ganung sitwasyon, kagaya din sa mga person with low vision, okay? So ang binabanggit din doon yung parang naka-walling.
Oo, yan.
Nakagabay ka lang sa wall.
Oo.
Okay? At least it give them a sense of location na andito lang ako, malapit ako sa wall.
Oo.
Konting hakbang ko na lang alam ko exit na to. Konting hakbang na lang alam ko pabalik na ako ng kusina. Okay? Basta importante kung saan ka man napupwesto, alam mong ligtas ka. Okay? Minsan may makikita kang mga earthquake drill or duck cover and hold drill. Let's say nangyari or yung nakita mo is nasa open field. Okay? Why would you duck cover and hold? Nakatago pa yung ulo mo, nasa open field ka naman, wala naman babagsak. So basically you can do tripod positioning, yung parang ready to run ka just in case, or at least yung eyes, yung sense of vision mo is open, hindi naka-close or hindi natatakpan. At least nakikita mo what's happening around you.
Okay na tayo, G?
Yes, sir. Wala na daw pong follow-up question. Maraming salamat po, Teacher Mark, Sir Ranil, Teacher Isaac.
Yeah, thank you very much. May mga nagme-message lang sa atin. We recognize si Silidonio Diaz. Meron din pala daw silang programa sa DIDRR, Disability Inclusive Risk Reduction. Mga 4 years na daw nila pinag-aralan din tungkol sa disaster. Siguro maganda din makapag-usap tayo para tayo magtutulungan, Kasi ang usually ang tinatanong ko sa mga kaibigan, ang parati kasi namin tinatanong ay syempre disability inclusive yan. Pero meron bang specific na topic, .
Ayun, nawala na si Sir.
Nag-freeze ata
Doon
si
sa
Sir. Ay,
mga practitioner no ng DIDRR, no, kaya nga ina-invite natin si Teacher Mark para magbigay din siya no ng kalaman no na focus no sa children with disabilities, kasi very challenging talaga no na i-manage no ang mga batang may kapansanan, no. Ang advantage ni Teacher Mark kasi dati si Teacher Mark no ay isa sang specialist teacher, no, isa din siyang ABA practitioner. So na marry no ni Teacher Mark PT din no, physical therapist ni Teacher Mark. So iba-iba no discipline no ang pinanggalingan ni Teacher Mark no na binubuo niya no, maliban pa sa mga updated niya no na mga training, no. So Teacher Mark no, maraming salamat, no. Siguro pag-usapan namin no at kukontakin ka namin no doon sa sinabi yung suggestion kanina, kung pwede tayong gumawa no ng customized, di ba? Customized na training no sa specific impairment no, for autism, for those with cerebral palsy, for those with Down syndrome and intellectual impairment, para no mas focus siya. Pwede rin tayo no, siguro may general tayo, pero meron din tayong custom fit no, specific no for a specific impairment. Okay, so maraming salamat no sa ating mga viewers no hanggang ngayon nandito pa rin sila. At siyempre no kay Teacher Jinvi no at saka kay Teacher Aisel no yung ating mga sign language interpreter no, sa mga team ng Northfield no, si Cathy, si Miss Clarice, si Lou no, at siyempre yung ating MC no, si Jinji. At siyempre no kay Teacher Mark no, maraming salamat no. I'm sure naman na marami tayong natutunan no sa hapong ito. No, wag natin kalimutan yung susunod natin no na Sabado na webinar.